going to welcome him, Mr. Abrams, to Voice of the People. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Winston.
Good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, friends. How y'all doing today?
We're good. And yourself?
Pretty good. Are you hearing me well?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Very well.
Yeah. Well, Winston, welcome. And I wanted to have just a dialogue today on artificial intelligence, particularly in the context of education, and how and why we can get involved in artificial intelligence. But if we can just start out from your perspective a little bit, and tell us a little bit about yourself, why you got involved in IT, and the importance of IT in 2021, and then we can move forward from there.
Okay, Paul, France, I've got to do a little house cleaning. I don't know if you recall that the last time I was on the air, a brother and I had a backward and forward discussion, and I think I was a bit obnoxious, so I've got to apologize to him. I haven't been on the radio since, so I've got to clean that up. I think you all recall, right?
Vaguely, I recall it.
Yeah. Well, he knows who he is, and I apologize to him for that.
Very well said, my brother. Very well said.
In any event, this is a very difficult topic. It's almost abstract to some people. And I've kind of laid out structurally and systematically how I'd like to deal with it. That's okay with y'all?
Go right ahead. Do your thing, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no problem. So indulge me, please. So what is artificial intelligence? France, you had asked me from an IT perspective, so I've got like 3 categories. I've got what is artificial intelligence, the pros and the cons. And then I've got information technology in education today. And then we have artificial intelligence and its massive implications for IT and academics in the future. Okay? So artificial intelligence, as you can imagine, is a part of information technology. Information technology, or IT, is a very broad field, right? There are 3 main areas with many sub-areas. The 3 main areas are computer systems administration, there is network systems administration, database administration, and computer programming. Well, I am an expert in the former 2. That's computer systems administration and network systems. Those are my forte. That is what I studied. But I've gotten into basically every area. I teach it at a high level. So what algorithms are is a part of IT, part of computer programming. Algorithms are the ideal or the construct. Think of ideals as the design for a program, right? An architect creates a design, right? They are really mathematical constructs or functions. And if you can imagine a recipe where you basically have got a series of steps, right? That's basically what the algorithm is in theory. Then the algorithm has to be coded into a programming language, and then it has to be made into machine language, which is binary. That is what the computer communicates with. So algorithm is the beginning of the process. Well, they decided that they wanted to have computers or machines learn like children. And AI is really the theory and the development of computer systems that are able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making. Artificial intelligence first came into being in 1956 by Dartmouth professor John McCarthy. And what he did is he called together a group of computer scientists and mathematicians, and he basically wanted to see if the machines can learn like children do, simply by trial and error, and also develop reasoning, formal reasoning. So the goal really was to create systems that can function intelligently by themselves. And there are 3 branches of AI. The first is machine learning. The second is natural processing language. And the third is machine vision. Machine learning is the backbone of AI. And essentially, in a nutshell, it's really teaching machines to learn by themselves. Okay? So it makes the machines learn based on knowledge And what programmers do is they analyze thousands of examples to build an algorithm, right? The AI, or the artificial intelligence, then tweaks the algorithm to see if it achieves its goal, and the machine essentially teaches itself and gets smarter over time. And initially what you had, the machines were actually given past games, and they learned to play the game to the point where they actually beat the best players in the world. Then they were given not past games, but simply the rules of the games, and they actually learned to, again, to beat the best player in the world. And then machines were actually given, these learning algorithms were actually given dictionaries to the point where they actually learned to speak the language. Deep learning is a subfield of machine language. Deep learning is where they actually learn using the constructs, the design of the brain, using our neural networks, how they function. It requires a large amount of data. And this is what has made artificial intelligence possible today, because the world has really been digitalized, right? Everyone has a smartphone, data is being collected on everything, everywhere. So that is the first thing that made it possible, because in order for the algorithms to learn, you need data, you need information. The second is that the processing power of computers has gotten tremendously faster and more powerful. Moore's law tells us that every 18 to 24 months, that the processing power of a computer doubles, and that has been consistent since the beginning. So we've got powerful computers, we've got large amounts of data being collected, and then we've got learning algorithms that can actually make sense of the data. It can spot patterns, it can spot trends, and actually make predictions. And that is what artificial intelligence is in a nutshell.
Right. So what I want to delve into, Wilson, that's a pretty comprehensive breakdown of artificial intelligence, or AI as it is often called. But people who are listening to the show who are not very tech savvy, who are parents, might not understand even why we are having this discussion. Why is this even important for us to talk about on Voice of the People? So what are the questions that I wanted to answer is, why is it should we care that this AI or artificial intelligence exists?
Okay, very good. So there are pros and cons of AI. It has massive implications for the future in healthcare. Artificial intelligence were actually shown x-rays of certain ailments, and they were actually able to predict the ailment after time, trial and error, by simply looking at the x-ray. Also, there are massive implications for anything that we do tediously. The machines can actually do them. Anything that's monotonous. But the bad part is that, bad actors are using artificial intelligence maliciously to target our population, our consumers, and our children, you name it. So when you connect a smartphone, a computer, anything to a network, you're literally connecting to thousands, millions of computer and computer networks the world over. And anything that's on those computers can affect you and the computer that you're on. So what we have here is social networks uses an economic model of engagement. So the whole idea is that they try to keep you on the social network or whatever network it is in order to sell you things. That's the whole idea behind it, right? So what happens is bad actors are now manipulating and controlling masses of people and predict the future using AI. To get a feel of what I'm saying, Malcolm X stated the following. He said, the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses. The art of mind control was known as far back as Plato's allegory of the cave, where people's belief systems were being created by illusions force-fed into their minds. Story. Our imagination has always been influenced by story. And if you can control the stories told to the public, you can control their imagination. Since the dawn of television, visual storytelling has been the most fundamental form of mind control in the modern world. Our subconscious has no firewall. right? It has no filter. So it doesn't matter how it gets into us, and it affects us dramatically more than we can imagine. It is well documented that a well-known cartoon creator, he ordered his artists to draw erotic images first, then the actual cartoon images around the exotic images, along with exotic pictures, hidden throughout his creations. The child's natural mind does not see the images, but his subconscious observes it, and it affects him dramatically.
Listen, family.
Parents
so Winston here. So Winston here, let me understand now. This AI that you're talking about, which is going to be, if it is not yet, the cutting edge of technology for people, is currently in our devices, in our electronic and our media tools that we are presenting. So when we give children, for example, devices, smartphones, tablets, and so on, we are exposing them to this AI technology. Is that correct?
It is not in the devices. The devices connect to the grid, the network, and the AI are a part of the network. Let me tell you what's going on. In the past, parents have used the TV as babysitters for their children, and we are now reaping its rewards, right? The television actually conditioned or brainwashed our children for whatever ideology was. They were actually being indoctrinated. Well, guess what? It has been in the news lately that social networks are not good for humans, and they're destroying the very fabric of society. It is actually worse than we think. The creators of these social networks said when they first wrote these programs, the first thought was how to consume as much of the user's time as possible and how to make user buy things. Okay, so this was the goal initially. They called it predictive analytics for advertising and surveillance advertising. It is now being used for social conditioning. It's the modern form of mind control and brainwashing. You see, the AI that we spoke of earlier is a part of these social networks in the form of bots. Remember, they can learn. So the algorithms are written with a goal in mind. Let's say, for instance, to make the person depressed so that they will buy things. The bots simply executing the instructions by the algorithms poses as a human, as a member of a social group, learns everything about the individual from interacting with that individual every day. Then it isolates that individual so that when the individual thinks that he's interacting with humans, he's actually interacting with AI bots programmed to destroy him. Using this form of manipulation and mind control, bots can turn an individual into anything they wish them to be, even a cult follower of an ideology. All of this is being tested and used in real time on social networks right in front of our eyes. It is all a part of the mind control being implemented on us. You find it hard to believe? Hear it from one of the creators of the social network that is now speaking out. The former vice president of Facebook revealed how he feels tremendous guilt over his role in heading a company which is destroying society. The short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops we've created are destroying how society functions, pointing to the insatiable needs for hearts, likes, and thumbs up.
Now you hear for yourself, eh? What Brother Winston is saying. He's an IT expert right here in Antigua, and he's showing you clearly. Even one of the founders of the footbook, Facebook, is saying that he feels a tremendous amount of guilt for being a part of an organization that has, that is encouraging such level of technology that can definitely manipulate the mind of our young ones and our children and all of us in general. All of us in general. I mean, as I said, this brother here is an IT specialist, and he's a conscious brother. You understand? He is a born-again Christian. I know the man personally, but definitely he has a strong consciousness within himself. If you hear him on the flip side, every day he's burning fire and vaccine, and he don't even nearly believe in COVID. And the brother refused to wear a mask. So you can see where his mind is, although he's telling you Jesus saved. But the point is, he obviously knows what he's talking about here. You know, the dangers of all these devices that we use. Don't just be saying, oh, the children is all of us. Which children? All of us. Devices and phones and tablets and computers, they're not isolated to children alone. All of us are big children right now being manipulated by all of these devices. So you can take it out of the children's scope. I understand, yes, we're checking for the youth and the next generation, and we were well kung fu with the, you know what I mean, television and Bugs Bunny and the fullness. Yeah, but at this moment, everyone, dog, pussycat have cellular phone and have internet and Wi-Fi. Even if you're not on a phone, and this is just a next level of it. This is not even the mind manipulation and what you're seeing every day and the pixels that are manipulating your brain, but just being in the arena, even if you don't have a phone, just being in the arena, just to walk through two people that are having a conversation on a phone, obviously you're going to be bombarded by some level of radiation. You walk into the room with the Wi-Fi, you got to be bombarded by some level of radiation, things that split your DNA and have you, you know what I mean, chipping out.
No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. So we are really in a bad state of affairs right now, in my opinion. It is eroding the core foundations of how people behave by and between each other. He also highlighted the way social media is able to manipulate mob mentality by referring to an incident in which 7 Indian people were lynched due to a social media hoax. That's what we're dealing with, he said. And imagine, take that to the extreme, where bad actors can now manipulate large swatches of people to do anything they want. It's just a really, really bad state of affairs, and we are compounding the problem, right? He said his children, they aren't allowed to use that, and he uses an expletive with an S. The former executive thought, just let me finish this thought, Franz, please. The former executive thoughts follow comments from the president, who in November revealed the constant need for validation via social media was possibly rewiring human brains. The thought process that went into building these applications as how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. I don't know if I really understood the consequence of what I was saying, because of the unintended consequences of a network when it grows to over 2-3 billion people. It literally changes their relationship with society, with each other. It probably interferes with productivity in weird ways. God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains. The social networks target alone, lonely, and depressed individuals. They are used together to keep online and to sell things to them because they are depressed. These same social networks are used to exploit human vulnerabilities to make people depressed, as they also target children and generally people who are alone.
I think that's obvious. I think that is obvious. That social media in general tends to again, target, as he says, even the vulnerable, the lonely, the old, the young. And it was created in such a way to attract these people, to encourage them to buy things and to spend money. It wasn't really created to give you as much knowledge and information that you can find under any tree and under any rock and wherever, you know. It was designed to make you buy things. And then, of course, the ingenious, intelligent scientists and even the inventors would have looked at the product and say, hey, we can do something else with this, you know. We can make some more dollars with this. Call Henry Kissinger, see if you want some people dead. Yeah, and work with the what is now the mind manipulation. I don't think this is by no chance. This ain't no by mistake. This is people sit down in the lab and behind the round table and decide who they want to manipulate, who they want to kill. That's how they think. That's how I think they think. And I'm not going to drop that meditation right now because I could see the type of world we live in. We feel the world is wicked by mistake. We feel like somebody just, oops, made a mistake and then things have gone bad. We don't understand that people literally sit down and make it their business to come and craft some sort of plan to off with their heads. Even if it's not literally, but decapitate them. Decapitate, make them hand decap. That's why some of us can't even write with our left hand, because we hand decap. Our hand is being decapitated, not understanding the spiritual implementations or implications of such. So this is real, and it's beyond just the children. I agree that we got to focus on the children. It's obvious, the next generation, and their minds and their brains are more tender than a lot of us, a lot of the old fogies. But trust me, this is something that's gone wild. This is something that's affecting everybody. Everybody has a phone, or you live next to a Wi-Fi at least. Don't even talk about the electrical poles, high tension wires, you know. But more than the effect of the radiation, what the brother is more speaking about is the effect on the mind